Okay, welcome guys to the Young Leading Leadership edition 23, and it's on a Sunday. So we're going to be having Mrs. Inena. It's a great privilege to have her. She's a great woman, and she just lost her father, and she's still doing this live with me. So I want to say a big thank you for her accepting to join me. Okay. Okay. Hi, Bumbi Bioha. I'm so sorry if I didn't pronounce your name well. Okay, so thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for joining. So we're waiting to Nena. Okay, very good. Thanks very much for joining. Thanks very much for joining. Thanks so much for joining. I'm seeing new faces. I don't know whether. Okay, but thanks so much for joining. So I'm here to go live on Mixella. Okay. So okay. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for joining. Okay, so this time, today's a Sunday, so we're going to have a good section here. Really, I should be sharing some insights. I spoke to her a few days before this time, and really, it was very powerful. So, thanks so much for joining. It's a great privilege. Great privilege. Great. Okay, she just joined us now. So before I had her, I prefer to read her profile before she joins. Okay. Before I have that, yes. So I don't want to actually, she knows who she is already. So I don't want to read her. So let me just read it out. So Mrs. Inena Sam Obioha is a writer, a positivity coach, a customer experience and retention specialist. She's also a banker with one of the leading financial institutions in Nigeria with a decade of experience in customer service and client relationship management. Now, this is what I love. I want to say, she's an expert at diffusing unpleasant situations, managing and retaining the most difficult and demanding clients. She does that. She does by spreading joy and positivity in and out of the workplace. She has a degree in psychology from the University of Ibadan, Nigeria, and she's married with 3 kids. Thank you so much, for joining. So I'm going to have that right now. Okay. Okay, so waiting for her to join and then go straight to the point.
Hi, Miracle. Good afternoon. So this is my first live. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Can you see me now? Okay, so is it better now? Okay.
I can see you now.
Okay.
Okay.
Good afternoon,
So
everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy. I'm really happy to have you live. Like, you're going to be hearing deep stuff here. Deep stuff. Okay, so I read the profile already. So, Mrs. Inena, the floor is yours, and we're ready to learn. I have my pen with me already.
Okay, good afternoon. So I'm sure one of the things that you saw on the caption when I was posting this on my Instagram handle is that I was inspired to accept your invitation because after I spoke to you, I liked the things that you were telling me that you were doing. So for the benefit of those who don't already know, my supervisor is here. SFA, thank you for joining. And you know, I was amazed and floored when she told me she was going to be here. Her handle is Boss Babe SFA. I just saw that. And a lot of my other colleagues are here. My mom is also watching me from Canada. So thank you, everyone. Hi, mommy. Hi, everyone. I can see some of my mom's colleagues also. I can see a lot of my colleagues. So that in itself gives me confidence to push. This will be like my first official live. Let me not say it's not my first live event, because I've done a lot of events where most of it was social, but this is like my first official live. So I was inspired because I spoke to you and I liked the things you were telling me. I was inspired by the fact that you are young and you can see the need to pay for people's JAMB exams. That is amazing. That takes a lot of sacrifice. And then when you told me that you had to make small chops, you had to do events, you know, to sustain yourselves through school, I'm amazed, you know. So for the benefits of those who are joining Miracle's Live for the first time and you don't already know, Miracle is a 200 level of University of Lagos and is fending for himself. And so your story inspires me. And I like that about you. You know, one of the things that you see on the things that I write on LinkedIn and on my other profiles is the fact that no matter how bad the situation is, there's always something good that you can bring out of it. You know, what happens is that when life throws you curveballs, people just tend to get weak, get disappointed, and then people just give up, you know. But the truth is, it is in that place that your rebirth is supposed to come out from. It is in that place that you draw strength, because there's so much strength in pain. There's so much strength in sorrow. What do you do when those things happen? You know, when those things happen, you're supposed to take those situations and turn it around for good. You know, I'm Christian, so one of the things I like to say is, and the Bible also says it, God doesn't bring a temptation that is beyond what you can handle. When there's a temptation, He gives you strength to stand it. He gives you strength to come out of it stronger. You know, but what happens is we don't look beyond where we are. We just see the things that are happening around us, you know, and we just cower in fear, and then we lose sight of the big things that are inside of us, you know. So, you know, God has given us everything that we need for life and godliness, you know. So we don't look at the things that we see, we look at the things that are unseen, because the things that you see now are temporal, but the things that you don't see are eternal. So why don't you push beyond the boundaries, push beyond the obstacles, push beyond the ugly things that life has thrown at you, and make the most of it. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, man. So I'm going to be asking Mrs. Nina some questions, and then I read a profile, and then there's something that I actually saw, and I think it's something that would really help a lot of people. So this is it. Okay, this is why, and I love this about her. I really love this. I've known her for a while now, and then I see the kind of passion she has for people. She's very beautiful at heart. Very, very beautiful at heart. I've had speakers, I've had people come speak as well. You know, meeting her is actually different and unique. And so thank you so much, Ma, for the compliment. Thank you so much. So, Ma, the question is this: how were you able to actually? How did you come this far? You know, you've worked with different sectors. How did you come this far? How were you able to actually manage your downtimes, the moments of rejection, the moment of where everything as if it was all over? How were you able to manage this moment?
Okay. What I'd like to say, first things first, to diffuse things. Like I say, I like to diffuse things.
Exactly.
To diffuse things. Because I know that you have a passion for young people and you mentor young people. One thing I would like to say is, I am just like you. Don't let the painted face that you can see now deceive you. I'm just like you. That's the truth. So let's start from there. That's our level ground. Now, when Miracle says I have been in several sectors. The sectors I've been in, I have been in banking for the longest. So banking is 10 years, a decade
Wow.
now. Before banking, all of the other experiences that you see on my LinkedIn profile are things that I did while I was in school. So that's why I said I am just like you. So now what did I do differently? I told myself, I had a picture in my head. Now my father of blessed memory, my father passed on, like I said, my father passed on Monday. And, you know, like I said to you, one of the things the first thing that came to my head when this started was, when you had that conversation with me was, no, there's no way I'm doing this anymore. Like, I will either postpone it or, you know, but as we went along and as you talked about the things that you were doing, one thing came to my mind, and it's the fact that this is what my father would have wanted me to do. Because I remember growing up, every time it was time for network news, if you're in Nigeria, NTA news, 9 p.m. in the night, and especially on Sundays when you have Newsline, my dad would call every one of us and make sure that we were seated. And then whenever there was a wedding, you know, Newsline was for weddings, you know, and events. And my father would say, I want you to be like that person. I want you to be like that person. You know, I want you guys to marry. My father, in his exact words, my father would say, I want you to marry quality people. My father wasn't a graduate. My father was just a businessman trying to make ends meet, you know. And like I said to people, I was born with a silver spoon, and the silver spoon one day became a wooden spoon, you know. So when people see me today, you know, people are thinking that, oh, I'm there. I am not there. I'm just probably middle level management in my organization. I'm not in that place yet. I'm not in that it place yet. But then I'm inspired to share these things because I said to Miracle the first time we had a conversation, I said to him, it's important that we share our story now before we blow. Before we blow. Because you know, people will see us 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the line, and then you're inspiring people to be the best at what they do and not to despise their days of little beginnings. And then people are looking at you and they're like, what does this one possibly know? You know, but they don't know that you have your story. You've gone through their pain. Your pain was probably even more than their own pain. But the only difference is that you were able to see beyond that situation. There was a time in my life where my parents had to pull me out of a very high-profile private primary school that I was going to, and they put me in a public school because they couldn't afford to pay our school fees anymore. And when I'm saying this thing, I'm not saying it because I want this story to sound sweet. I'm saying it because my father had 3 cars. So you can imagine, from having 3 cars, we used to buy stuff in bulk. There was nothing. My mother said every time a new outfit came out, she would buy it for us. And so imagine going from that to a place where they couldn't afford to pay your school fees, and then they put you in a public school in primary 5 so that I'll write common entrance, you know, because they couldn't afford it. Of course, my siblings, they managed to afford to pay that one time, and then after they put them in another school, which was also a private school, but it wasn't as high profile as the school I was in, you know. And so at that point, you can imagine how disillusioned I was. And when people used to say it then, that when they came to that school, parents would be asking the teachers who this child is, because I was different. Like, they could tell that there was something different about this child. This child did not fit in. You know, so you can imagine even the not fitting in itself is psychological. It has psychological effects on the child, because you cannot fit into the class of people that you now find yourself, and you also cannot fit into the class of people that you think that you find yourself, because your parents don't have that financial capacity, you know. And so I moved from there. I went into secondary school. Yeah, God so kind. I went to a government-funded secondary school, but it was a fantastic school. It was St. Louis Grammar School, Mokola. St. Louis was a missionary school, you know, so it was a legacy school of the Catholic Church. And so St. Louis was amazing. You probably cannot call St. Louis a public school, you know, because we had kids of expatriates in that school as well. But then it was still a public school. Do you understand? And then, of course, there were times where at home we couldn't afford to feed. My father had to ride cabs. You know, like he had to, one of the cars, we had to keep down and they turned it into a kabu. But, you know, I grew up in Ibadan, you know, and so don't see me and think that, oh, I'm one girl that grew up in Lagos, in a high broad place. Yeah, I grew up in Ibadan, you know, and I grew up among people who were traders, a lot of them well-to-do. So you can imagine where I had to help my mom buy pure water to sell in her shop. The shop had become empty. A shop that was one of the big provision stores in Ibadan, you know. So all of that, when I say these things, I'm using it to let people know that you see people 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, they are doing well and they're inspiring you to do well, and you mock them and you're like, what do they probably know about my struggle? But the truth is, there are people who have it worse than you have it. But what is your decision? Are you going to choose to stay there, or are you going to choose to leave and look beyond where you now see yourself? So one of the things my father used to do was, I thought those things were small, but enshrined in who I am today were the things that my father taught us. My father would say, I want you to be like this. Then people used to say, oh, you look like Desani Alice Madeke because I had big eyeballs. I still have big eyeballs. And then my father would say, oh, I want you to be like this minister. Suffice it to say, at some point, my father had to serve in Shell when the car he had then became really bad and rickety. Like he couldn't because he was spending more servicing the car. My father had to work in Shell as a waiter just so that we can eat, to make ends meet. So you can imagine how he saw at the time. Desani Alice Madeke was Minister for Information, and he would see her, and he was someone he looked up to. And then so when he showed people pictures of his daughter and of course his children, people would say, oh, this one looks like our minister. So my father kept telling me those things, and those things just sunk. And so for me, your picture might not be a minister. My picture now, minister right now, my picture now is people that I see who are doing well in their various spheres. People who I see, and I know that, and I'm usually inspired by people who I have a sentimental attachment to, people who I feel like, oh, this person had to go through this to be this way today. And so I feel like at this time, God has sent me for a time such as this, to let people know that despite the odds, you can still stand. Your situation, you might not have a father or mother who will tell you, oh, this is who I want you to be like, but you can be that person. Thank God for technology. Thank God we all have phones. Thank God you are in school and you do your assignments on the internet. And so you see pictures of people that you want to be like. So download a picture of what you want to be like. At some point, I shared that on LinkedIn. There was a point where I was disillusioned. I was unhappy in my journey now as an adult, in my career journey, because I just felt that, oh, things were not moving as fast as I wanted them to be. And I stayed in that place of unhappiness for too long. For someone like me who is very dogged, I stayed in that place for too long, And I just, one thing I know that I have going for me is that I'm a praying person. I spent time, I told God, I said, I want clarity of thought. I want clarity of purpose. I want to fulfill that thing that you've called me to be. I don't just want to be that girl who has a 9 to 5, who is just earning a salary and, trying to make ends meet, looking good, who is married with children. That's not all. That's for someone else, that is purpose. But for me, I knew that more God was calling me to. And I knew that it was beyond being selfish. What happens to us is that we know that you are different. You know that you are different. You know that you are loved. And then what happens is that you now choose to stay in that place. And then you are shining light to yourself. There's something my friends have said. Light that is shining to light, is that one light? That's not light. You can't be light and you're shining light to yourself. So God woke me up to a realization that people need to hear your story. You need to hear people. The one thing, if there's anything I have, is the fact that I never let the things around me determine my output. Do you understand? So, will I say, I don't know if output is the right word to use or input, but the thing is, I like to give everything I'm committed to my best. I like to give it my best. Because for me, it's a brand I am building. Let it be said that if it was Nena doing this thing, I can bet you that she will not do this thing like this. Let it be something that you're known for. So in school, as a student of Unilag, as a student of whichever school that you belong to, let it be said that this guy is different. This one is not, in Yoruba parlance, they say Gbogbo Eru. Let it be said that you are not Gbogbo Eru. You are not like everyone else. You are different. And even if you didn't know that you were different, know it today. that when you were created with a purpose. My purpose is not the same as the purpose of miracle. God puts miracles on purpose. But the thing is, like the Bible says that every joint, is together. So all of us are connected to fulfill one thing. And that's to make humanity better. That's to make creation better. So what will it be for you? Are you just going to live through life? Some people say, oh, I want to be wealthy. I want to be big. You want to be big. You want to be wealthy. If you were given that bigness, what are you going to make out of it?
Yes.
That's the truth. What do you want to do with that bigness? So for me, when I say those things, when I make those confessions, I am not saying them. See, Father, you see my heart. You see that I don't want to be big for myself. I want to be big for the people that you have called. It says that the earnest expectation of the creation is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. Are you going to choose to manifest that potential that is inside of you? Or are you going to stay in that place of self-pity? I would rather that you choose the latter. Do not stay in the place of self-pity. You have been called. You have potential. I saw something on Instagram and the person says, positivity is a superpower. And that's something that keeps me going. When I told you I was in that place of disillusionment where I wasn't happy, where I was sad. And I told one thing I said, if it is you who has called me, you are going to put me in that place where I'm going to find joy. I'm going to inspire people. People are going to hear the things I say and they're going to say, oh, wow, you gave me hope. I was down. And so that's all I need. So when I'm saying I'm looking to make impact, I'm not looking to make impact so that people can see me and say, that girl, she's a big girl. She's wealthy. And, and that also guides me because every time I want to share a post, I was speaking to a friend of mine not too long ago and I told her, I said, see, there's so many things that I have to share. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A call just interrupted this. Let me put this on.
Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you so much for joining. Let me say thanks to everyone that's joining. This is very powerful. She made some points. She said there is strength in your pain. Never let the things around you determine your output. Wow. I think we're having a network from our side, so we're just going to wait for her part to join. So let me just say thank you for everyone who is around. Thank you very much to Mrs. Obio. Sorry, I do not pronounce the name well. Let me just say thank you for joining. Mr. Shagun, thank you for joining. Mr. Samuel, thank you very much for joining. Miss Chizaram, thank you for joining. Mrs. Mr. Boss Babe, thanks for joining. Mrs. Macro Bosse, thanks so much for joining. So, okay, she just joined us now. Okay. Thank you so much for joining. So, we're going to continue right now. Okay. Okay.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay. So,
I don't know what happened.
So you said some certain things that I believe a lot of people watching now would actually want you to even get clarity on. And it's both for old people, young people, and then at a different stage. What do you think success should look like? What do you think success should be? The different notions, the different beliefs about success, but what do you think success should be?
So that concept success is relative. The thing you need to ask yourself is, what is your goal? What are you seeking to achieve? My idea of success might not be yours. So my idea of success will be someone telling me that, Nena, because of this thing that you said to me, because of this thing that you wrote, you have given me hope. So for me, that's for someone else, success might just be the fact that they have a job, they got a job, you've been seeking a job for a long time, and then you got that job, and the job can pay your bills. So success as a concept is not something that you can define for anyone. But what I would like to add, if I'm going to add throw weight behind this, is whatever your idea of success is, make sure it is something that is adding value to someone. If you are not adding value to someone, then you are not successful by any standard. If your idea of success is just to make your life better, your own life better, and the life of the people who are your family members, I would ask for you to seek for more. Look for more. There's much more to life than the things that benefit you. So that's what I would like to say to that.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, ma. Thank you. So, while we're talking, there's a certain things that I actually learned from while we're talking on the phone, and I think it would be nice to actually have it here. So, you said something about people expecting support from people. How should people respond to rejection? How should people respond to the fact that, okay, let's say I needed you to support me, and then maybe someone you're not able to support, and then I go angry. Should people be angry because we're not supported? Should people be actually saying, "Oh, thank you for not supporting me"? How should what advice would you give to people's response to rejection? And then
anybody who knows me knows that this thing you just unlocked is a passion for me. Now, what happens is, I'll call it entitlement. What entitlement does to you is you are shortchanging yourself by feeling entitled to something someone else can give you. You are shortchanging yourself. Now, first things first, you are responsible for your happiness. My husband is watching. Hi, baby. That's my husband. And I say to people all the time, I'm mentioning him now. I say to people all the time, your spouse is not responsible for your happiness. Your spouse can try to make you happy. Your mother, your father, your supervisor is not responsible for your happiness. You will choose what you want your joy to be. The only person that can give you joy is your creator, is your maker. That's the only person that can give you joy that is not temporal. So rather than seeking for people to make you happy, rather than seeking validation from other people around you, rather than seeking financial gain, what's it called? Things in kind from other people, seek to be that person that gives. Because in giving, so when I say giving, I don't just mean material things. You give of your time, you give of your support, you give of encouragement, you give of, spending time to pray for someone is giving. You release yourself by doing those things. And when I say praying, it's not limited to a particular religion. People across religions pray. Giving sets you free. It liberates you from that bondage of I don't want to say bondage of pointing accusing fingers and criticism. So one thing I do, when I feel like I want to start sinking into that place of being offended by something somebody has done to me, I give to that person. So when I say, it might not be something physical. It might just be me praying for something about that person. It might just be you liking a picture the person has posted. Somebody has hurt you. You're not happy with the person. But you don't like the picture. Do you understand? You have released yourself. You have told yourself that you are bigger than that emotion. And so every time you do that, you grow, you mature. So don't be that person that keeps pointing accusing fingers. See, let me tell you, like I said we should change ourselves when we are feeling entitled. So you have an uncle. Your family, for instance, your own immediate family is not doing well financially. And then you have an uncle, and in your head, you have already calculated that the person makes 5 billion a month in your head. And the person cannot even just pay your school fees. And one thing we forget is that big man has his own expense, recurring expense. That big man has his own issues. There are too many people on their necks. You don't even know if the person has a loan that is running, and the person cannot even afford to pay. Do you understand? And so you just sit in your little corner and you are judging someone else. You are judging the fact that they have not helped you. Oh, my supervisor did not give me an A+. It's my supervisor that made me not promoted. But you forget that, see, when it's your time, nobody can stop it. Sometimes you might need to pass through that harsh situation. That's let me not say harsh. That's seemingly it's seemingly because in your mind it's a tough situation. But to your creator, it's a path you have to pass through to get to that your desired end. So one of the things I wrote on LinkedIn is I say people should embrace their journey. Embrace where you are.
Hmm.
You know, while seeking clarity for your next level, be happy doing what it is that you are doing at the moment. Don't stay in that place of bitterness. Don't stay in that place of hurt. Don't stay in that place of pointing accusations at people. Be a better person. Seek to do for people rather than seeking for people to do for you. Because you know what happens? For every time you give, good measure, pressed down, running over is added to you. You know, so people might not give to you in terms of, so what I mean is the measure that you are giving might not be the same measure that you're getting back. But guess what? There will always be people that will be standing in the gap for you in the areas that you cannot reach. There will always be people that they will put in situations, you know, that you are helpless. So there will always be somebody there to help you. It might not necessarily be that person that you have given to. So you have bought somebody a gift on their birthday. They did not buy you something on your birthday and you are angry. And you are angry. Are you that short-sighted? Are you that short-sighted? It is better that you are the one giving. It is better. Because see, when you give, you have in abundance. I will tell you today that the story of my life is the story of someone that gives. See, there are people that are well-to-do. And all I just do is I can just cook a small bowl of soup and I just send to them. So for you, it might just be buying somebody airtime of 200 naira. But you're in school. For you, it might just be that you can see your flatmate or your hostel mate. The person is carrying 2 buckets of water and the person is struggling. Can you offer to help rather than look away? You know, so I think we should leave that at that.
Wow. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. So before we will let Mrs. Inina go, you know, Mrs. Inina had about 10 years experience in the banking sector. What that means to me is that she has met different type of people. You know, when they say different type of people, like different sets of people, that means she has had to deal with different characters that would make you overreact. So I feel it is so much experience in pack. So the last question we ask every speaker is, a lot of people going through a lot of things right now. You've had experiences with different set of people. We have young people and old people watching this now. What advice would you give to people with all that you've learned over time? What is that present thing you want someone to actually know now?
So one thing I would like to say is, know ye no man after the flesh. I'm going to explain that. What that means is, I have seen you miracle, and I am looking at you as just a human being. What can you possibly add to me? I am in the banking industry, so my experiences will be in line with that. But guess what? One thing I'd like to say is the things that I've done in banking, how I have served people. So I say I am a service person because I am a branch service manager. So my role entails customer service and the likes. One thing I say is, when I meet somebody, someone who is difficult, someone who is aggrieved, someone who is angry, like, okay, I said in my LinkedIn profile that I'm an expert at diffusing unpleasant situations. Now, the customer has come in, the person is angry. I'm using the customer as an analogy. So you are not in the service industry, but you can use this analogy for the field that you are. So you're in school. The customer has come in and the customer is angry. He's blowing hot, like hot. Your first instinct is to, what's wrong with this one? Like, why are you shouting? But see, one thing I always do is I say, this person is not angry at me. This person is not angry. This person is angry at something. So I look beyond how the person has reacted to me. And I see the need. I hear the things the person is saying. What happens is, when you're looking at people and you're just looking at the emotions they are throwing at you, what happens is you miss out on the important information that the person is trying to pass across. And I say to people, I say, The most difficult customers, the ones that come in with plenty problems, they are the nicest of people. They're just people that want things to be done right. People that want things to be done the right way. They don't like corner cutting. They like you to tell them the truth about service when it fails. They like you to just be open about things. Like, there's no need to start cutting corners. So, know ye no man after the flesh. So the customer is angry. The customer is angry. The customer is throwing tantrums. I like to seek to understand what they are saying. So I say to them, I say, sir, please take a seat. And they sit. And I like to find something that I know that can make that person laugh. So during COVID, I will let the customer, I'll say, good morning, sir. Welcome. And I say, sit down. And the customer sits. And the customer starts to say everything. Angry, talks. And after he finishes, and I listen calmly. You know how it is when somebody is ranting and the person is looking for you to, I just sit down and I listen. And when the person is done speaking, I say, I'm sorry you feel this way. But I think that a good way for us to start is I just really want to know how you are and how your family is doing. And the person just looks at me and the person is like, you know how this person is shocked. Like, I'm saying something and you have now gone the extra mile. Like, I really want to know how you are. You know, so that in itself disarms that person. Disarms the person. So the person sees that this person is not my problem. She might actually have a solution to the problem that I have. So from there, after we have now talked about family, so what I call it is, I call it appealing to the emotional side of the person.
Wow.
You get into a conflict, you get into a conversation, rather than pointing accusing fingers and say, okay, let's solve the problem. You're like a robot when you're saying, okay, this is the problem, right? We're solving the problem. That's a robot. For me, my desk is my ministry. It's where God will have me be right now. So I want that person to leave, not just having an impression of me. I want the person to leave with an encounter.
Wow.
There are customers that have followed me, and I'm sure a lot of my colleagues can relate to this too in their own journeys. There are customers that have followed me across all the branches that I've gone to. They just be following you everywhere. Not for anything. Some of them are outside the country, but they don't want to talk to anybody else except you. You know? And I also have friends. One thing I also do is I like to carry my friends along with me. I'm in this live today, but before I came on this live, I didn't just say, oh, I can speak to people. I have done it before. I train people. But I spoke to some of my friends and I told them, I said, I really want you to pray with me. Before the flyer came out, for my friends that I feel like they might be busy and they won't be able to do it, I sent them the flyers. Because I never want to be in a place where I feel like I'm alone. I never. Not because I can't do it on my own. I'm an independent person. Before this light, you need to see my husband has put on the fan because NEPA has taken lights, done plenty things for me. And I knelt down yesterday and I told my husband, I said, I want you to pray for me. Not because I can't do it on my own, but I need the people in my life and in my circle to know that this journey to greatness, we are doing it together. I don't want to be great alone. I want to be great with the people I'm with. I want everybody in my circle, anybody that knows me, you ask them, they'll tell you the same thing. I want everybody who is around me to do well. I don't want to be the one man shining. No, because guess what? When you are the only person shining in a place, eventually that darkness, if the darkness is too thick around you, it becomes difficult for your light to shine. But imagine where everybody's glowing, everybody's shining, everybody's growing. You know, our world becomes a better place. So that's what helps me in my relationship with people.
Wow. I think this is very powerful. I think I will give people a few seconds to just let that digest. That's very, very powerful. Some powerful insight, you know. And you covered both relationship, life, purpose. Wow, that's very, very powerful. And I'm very grateful. I want to say a big thank you to Mrs. Inina. This is a great privilege, you know. She's how will I put it? I don't easily give comments like this live, but I'm going to give the comments live now. I've just met her in a while and I can see how powerful she has passion for people. You know, she has passion for people. And I want to say thank you so much, Ma, for the kind of passion you have. And really, thank you so much. So before she would leave, I would want about 10 people to say thank you before she leaves. I want 10 people. I'm going to say
Sorry.
thank you. Okay,
One last thing. One last thing. I won't feel good if I don't say this thing. I'm going to say it as a note, final note. I have also failed many exams. I have also failed in a lot of life's journeys. Failure is not the end. You keep trying till you hit the bull's eye. I'm going to say it again. I have also failed many exams. I have also failed in many areas. Failure is not the end. You keep trying till you hit the bull's eye. Confess positivity. Confess the future you want to see. Remember, everything that you need for life and for godliness is inside of you.
Wow. I hope I wrote that down. If you want, I can actually give you for a price. This is joking. This is joking. So okay. So well, let's say thank you before she leaves. Let's say thank you. Let's say thank you. Okay, I've seen 2 thank you. Many, I think we need about 5 more. No, I think we need about 8 more. Let's say thank you before she leaves. It's a great privilege to have, out of everything she decided to come live. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me, It means a lot to me. She's done more than what we're actually doing here. So, but I can't share with you. But let's say thank you. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in. Somebody just joined. You have to go and watch it again. So I'm going to save it.
Yeah. So please save it so that people can rewatch it. We can post this on LinkedIn as well.
Yes.
But now there's a 2 parts. How do we do that? The first part and this one. What do we do?
No, it's going to join together. Actually, it's going to be joined together.
That's good. So we can just repost it.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. I think we've had enough. Thank you. Thank you. That means everybody's really blessed right now. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And then I want to say thank you to your husband too.
My mom is joining from my sister-in-law's phone.
Wow, mommy, thank you. Thank you so much, ma. I want to say thank you to your husband for being very supportive. I want to thank you to your mother and your sister. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to let Mrs. insightful. So is there any question before we let her go? Do you have any question you want to ask her before she goes? Any question? So waiting. If you have any questions, just drop it quickly and then we'll ask her before she goes. We're waiting. I think Instagram is actually recording the video, so it takes time to get to the audience. So, okay, no question. I'm waiting for questions. Are there any questions that you want to ask before we let Mrs. Inena go? Oh, we need more of these sections. It's like we have to have you again.
That's fine.
We need to have you again. She said we need more of sections like this. Okay. Next one's happening on Saturday, actually. But we're going to have another section with her again, actually. Okay. So I think we don't have any questions. So
doing amazing things. Miracle is doing amazing things. So please.
Thank you so much. Okay, this is the next one is actually next Saturday, but it's next Saturday. Yeah, next Saturday. But we're going to have another section with Mrs. Inina because I can see a lot of people really love this. We're going to have another section with her. And thanks very much, Ma, for joining. So we're going to let Mrs. Inina go now, and then you can meet us next week. We're going to have another section with a woman from Ghana. She should be speaking on passion. So let's say thank you so much, Ma, for coming. I'm really grateful. Really grateful. Thanks so much for empowering me too as well. I make small talk, so she was on pushing me to post that video I posted on Instagram. So
Miracle makes small talk, so please place your orders. I have to tell him, I said, see, I want to see that video on LinkedIn. I want to see it. You can't be playing low.
Thank you so much. She forced me to actually do that, so I eventually did. So I want to say thank you very much, man. Thank you so much. And we're going to have another session with her again. I'll talk to her about it, and then when the date is set, we'll pass it on to you guys. Okay, so Ma, bye-bye.